Panthers beat up on the New York Giants 20-17, and I believe they did it overseas in Germany as well. So whatever German word for what's up, grab a beer, all that type of stuff, let's say those words. I just don't know it off the top of my damn head. Shout out to Dave Canales for having the Carolina Panthers playing a lot better. Chuba Hubbard, 153 rushing yards. He was the guy that powered this offense past the New York Giants. Got to show him a little love there. And who would have known Bryce Young with a running game and a couple of weeks of sitting his ass on the bench a little bit? Wow. Looking okay. I'm not saying it's not any, world-beating numbers. He was, 15 for 25 for 126 yards and a touchdown. No interceptions. Wasn't hit a whole bunch. I will say this, though. I'd like to see him more under center, right? And that way, when he does do play action, put his back to the defense so that the defense so he can have a little bit more reaction on play action as opposed to always being in the shotgun for play action passes. But Carolina, you have gone from being the basement, of the National Football League. So, hey, they're a young team. They're getting better. All right, next game up. New England Patriots beat up the Chicago Bears. Oh, man. Shane Waldron lost your job, man. Hey, offense coordinator for Chicago Bears. Y'all lost 19-3 to a New England Patriots team who they aren't that good themselves. But look, check this out. You figured something was going to happen, all right? I think it's something like the Bears hadn't scored a touchdown offensively in over 20-something drives or something like that. That's not good in the NFL. But every time I think of Caleb Williams, I always go back to this point that I heard Lincoln Riley say right after he won his Heisman Award. And then he said it throughout the draft process as well. Hey, Caleb's an awesome talent, generational in some aspects of his game, but he's still a young player. Guys, he's still only 20 years old. At the time, that's what Lincoln Riley was saying. But this guy's still a young football player in the National Football League. And there's a lot of pressure that comes with being the number one overall pick. I say this, if you want this kid to truly reach that potential that he has and all that generational talent, I believe he should sit. I believe he should have sat to start the beginning of the season. Why? Because he's young. He still hadn't seen a lot of football, still needs to play a lot of football. And just because in college you're able to make a bunch of off-schedule plays, in the National Football League, you got to play on schedule. And that's when I watched the tape. And again, I have to say, I started off watching Chicago tape early in the season. Then I kind of got away from it. And then I went back over the last couple of weeks. And the offensive line, there's some issues there. I think they got 3 starters that are hurt right now. I think their left guard went down this past game as well. So you got some mixed up shuffling at the offensive line. So his protection isn't always great. But when he does have protection, it's like he's rushed, but there's nobody around him. It's like he's speeding up the processes in his head and he's making inaccurate passes and oftentimes not throwing it to the right receiver. And now what you're starting to see from Keenan Allen and the wide receiver group, you're starting to see guys like on third down run off the field like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So you figured somebody had to go. Shane Waldron, you're the guy who ended up having to go for the entire offense, for this entire team. But I will say this. Matt Eberflus, you up next, bruh. You up next. It just seems to be just what the Chicago Bears do. It's the Chicago Bears thing, right? They don't develop quarterbacks. I have to repeat this stat. They have not had a 4,000-yard passer in the history of the Chicago Bears. Next game, Bills 30 over the Colts 20. Did you see Josh Allen? You know I call him the bazooka, right? You've heard me say this. You know I'm kind of president of Bills Mafia. Bills Mafia staying all the way up. You guys don't hear me as much on social media, just yelling Bills Mafia and things like that as much anymore, because I kind of want us to, and I say us because I feel like I go through the emotional ups and downs with the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, everybody. I feel like we're better when we're like, nobody's talking about us. You know what I'm saying? We're kind of in the background, a kind of an afterthought. You know what I mean? And we're running the football. Run the football. You got Kansas City up next. Josh Allen, I think he's tied for number 2 all-time in the franchise with touchdown scores, tied with OJ. You tied with OJ, big dog. You know what I'm saying? That's some Hall of Fame stuff right there. All right, next game. Chiefs beat up on the Broncos 16-14. How the Chiefs keep doing it? How in the hell they just keep winning? It cannot be sustainable. There's no way they're gonna go undefeated, right? There's no way they're gonna go undefeated. Hopefully Bills Mafia stand all the way up. Hopefully Bills Mafia next week we put an end to that undefeated streak. But I've seen them win it with their offense, with Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, when the games get close, late in the games, he's going to run the football. Defenses, he's going to run the football. I just want to let you guys know that, all right? I've seen him do it with defense, with Chris Jones and company, Nick Bolton and all of those guys making things, Trent McDuffie, making things tough on opposing offense. I've seen him win that way, but I haven't seen him win this way. Almost a chip shot field goal in the NFL, and they block it. Now, it was schemed up, though. You know what I mean? I think Chenault, the guy who blocked it, Chenault said that, he felt like he can bull rush the guy and he got his hand up. But if you watch it, the guy next to him, the nose tackle, actually act like he was going to rush, but didn't rush, pull back. That part of the offensive line went forward, creating a gap in space for bodies to bounce and get up and block the field goal. Scheme was awesome, and it couldn't have happened at a better time. Next game up, Steelers. 1-point win, 28-27 over the Washington Commanders. I know everybody was high on those Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels has been balling, but Russell Wilson, 3-0 since he's been the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A shout out to Mike Tomlin. Because how many of us was like, what are you doing? Justin Fields has a winning record as the starter. And not once did Mike Tomlin say Justin Fields is going to be his starter. Not once. He just kept on saying, hey, when Russell's healthy, I told Russell he was going to be the starter, and it's showing. And to me, it's showing, and again, I've said it on these recaps before, to me, it is showing in the deep ball accuracy, the ability of wide receivers like George Pickens to be able to make plays on the football while the ball is in the air. I've said it before. Russell Wilson is one of the better deep ball throwers of the football in our game. Why? Because he puts the ball way up there, right? You throw that thing up, right? And when the ball is up, the receiver is like a really good athlete, right? And oftentimes there's a defensive back that has his back to the football and has to turn and find the ball when it's in the air, when the receiver pretty much knows where the ball is going to be. So the receiver has the ability to adjust to the football. I want all of our listeners and viewers to check out the first touchdown pass to George Pickens this past weekend. The ball was in the air. You see George set his angle one way, then he adjusted. The only reason he had the ability and the time to adjust is because the ball was high in the air. And then the ball to Mike Williams to win the game. Hey, quiet as kept. That's going to be the NFL way to play winner this week. You know how I know? Because I pick it. Now, you heard it on the Get Got Podcast recap. But look, oh my goodness. 3rd and 9, game on the line, blitz. It was man free. Russell drifted just a little bit. Mike Williams knew the defensive back was sitting at 9 yards waiting to call catch coverage, where you're waiting to catch the receiver and knowing that you're blitzing, knowing that the ball got to come out. Well, Russell held on to it a tick longer, throw that thing up. You threw it up. And again, watch Mike Williams, his ability to keep we call this holding the red lines, which is about 8 yards from the sideline, holding the red line and then having high hands. You have high hands. You see punt returners. When I used to be punt returner and I coach punt returners, you always tell them to keep high hands because human beings, you lose flight of the ball the last 6 inches of the ball, right? And if you see Mike Williams catch that ball, his hands are high because he understands that secret as well. He catches it, boom, catches the football, They win the game. Pittsburgh Steelers, they on the roll. Next game, Chargers. Oh, yeah, Chargers. 27 over the Tennessee Titans, 17. Mr. Mayonnaise, Will Levis, got sacked 7 times. I don't know if it was just him 7 times, but they gave up 7 sacks, and he got a lot of them. Oh, my goodness. But Dupree even got in on the action, 2 sacks. Hey, look, man, I think this Los Angeles Chargers team is different. Obviously, they got a physical identity. They had a team rushing total of 145 rushing yards. Again, when you can capture the line of scrimmage, I don't even think Justin Herbert had to throw for 200 yards for them to win this game. So they're capturing the offensive line of scrimmage. And I just said they had 7 sacks. They're capturing the defensive line of scrimmage. They're going to be a tough out. They're going to be tough. To me, the eye test says that they're playing better than Kansas City. And I know the record would not say that. But, man, them Chargers, they're going to be funky. There's some people coming down the stretch. Lions, 26, Texans, 23. Texans, your offensive line stinks. They not good. C.J. Stroud's still an elite passer, but what's happening is he ain't a runner. So what happens is when you hit that guy a bunch, or when you let big guys hit on him, and he's trying to look downfield to throw the football, because that's how he can get the ball out. He ain't no runner. What happens is he start looking at that rush more than looking downfield. And, he starts seeing ghosts from time to time. He starts getting inaccurate from time to time. And again, I'm not saying that this ain't normal. I'm not saying that, CJ ain't a great player. No, CJ's an awesome player. He was a an MVP candidate last year. And early this year, he was an MVP candidate. But you got to protect the guy. Protect the guy. I believe this passing game lights back up. But my man D'Amico, I think when you watch this tape, you'll go back and say, maybe we shouldn't have kicked that field goal with 2 minutes left. Maybe we just punt that thing and play the field position game, and I know analytics may not have said that, but you're a defensive dude, man. I kind of would have thought, even when y'all were trying that 58-yard field goal, I'm like, y'all like by the logo, when every time you buy the logo, only a first down or 2. And yeah, man, the other team's in field goal range, and the Lions ended up winning that thing after Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. 5. I knew it was going to be a game. Jared does this. Jared does this every single year. He gives you some type of game like this, but 5? It got to a point where I'm like, dude, there's no way the Lions will win this game. But Houston gave them 3, and then they made that decision at the end of the game. And look, the Lions, I think what they've done is they've proven to themselves that they can win it all with a game like that. Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins beat the Los Angeles Rams. So again, it's like in my head, Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff are going to always be connected now because of that damn trade. And Matthew Stafford, to me, didn't look the best version of himself. He almost threw for 300 yards. He did throw an interception, no touchdowns, but it was more of how skittish he was in the pocket. You know what I mean? Again, he got hit early in that game, and he started fumbling. The snap started going different places, things like that. Didn't have his best day. And Tua, man, look, he played well. Let me see how many yards Tua had. He was 20 for 28, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. So he's very efficient. But I can't lie, man. Every single time the ball is snapped and he drops back, and if that ball doesn't come out in rhythm, I get nervous for Tua. Every single time. He threw a pick, and he made the tackle. It was a bigger person, and he dipped his head down to make the tackle. And I'm like, and I'm afraid that this is a physical sport. It's inevitable he's going to get tackled again. It's inevitable his helmet is going to get hit at some point. And what I don't want is for a defender or somebody to get vilified for doing their job. Because now I feel like the whole sports world, we're emotionally attached and tied in to like Tua and make, you know what I mean? And like, damn, we want to make sure he's okay and all of that. And, you know, I even wonder if defenders, when they get around him, are they like, do I hit him? He gonna go down, right? Or what about if they make it to the playoffs and he has to scramble for a 3rd and 1? I don't know. To me, I don't know. It just seems like some bad stuff that could possibly happen. But he got the win, though. And, you know, Tyreek Hill scored. Jalen Waddle came alive as like other quarterbacks for Miami don't even want to throw the damn ball to Jalen Waddle. I have no idea the kid is fast and can catch the football.
I mean, I know I'm going to get got. But I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though.
2-4 for the one time. I'ma get got, but I bet I get mine. 2-4 to 2-6. And if I get got, then you know what I'ma get.